When we think of the word hood, we usually think of a person, a place, and perhaps even a thing. Welcome to Muhlenberg County Ghost Stories from the Hood, Friday Night Frights edition. Tonight's story is very personal and important to me because it involves a friend of mine that is no longer with us. So with that being said, sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and be entertained by the one and only Sir Creepsta. Tonight's story that I'm bringing you, Fog on Turd Creek. When we think of fog, we normally associate it with thick clouds suspended in atmosphere that often causes problems with one's visibility. There's no particular time of day in which one might have to deal with foggy conditions, especially depending on where you happen to live. Usually, the higher the elevation, the more likely one's chances are of having to deal with some type of fog. Tonight's story dives deep into the crevice of the supernatural and how fog has a canning ability to show up in the most unlikeliest places, seemingly out of nowhere. Today's story tells of the personal experience that myself and two of my close friends happened to be involved with firsthand. It was the winter of 1980, February to be exact. Life was good, especially considering that I was the starter for my high school basketball team. I had the prettiest girl in the whole county, and on top of that, it didn't hurt that the team was on a 7 game win streak as well. Usually, after a home win, we would all meet up at the hottest restaurant in town to grab a quick bite celebrating the win. Burger Queen usually won out over the rest of the few restaurants we had to choose from. Since I was only 15, I was too young to drive, so I hopped a ride from the gym with a friend of mine named Brent. He, along with another friend of mine named Booba, and I all hopped in the ride, and he drove off to Burger Queen. Once inside of Burger Queen, we ordered our food, dined as quick as possible, said our goodbyes to our friends, and then we were off. We figured that Brent would just drop us off at home, seeing that the next morning was a school day. But Brent had other intentions. He asked us if we wouldn't mind hanging out for just a little while longer. We really didn't have any choice. It was either ride with Brent or foot it. So of course we chose the latter because it was dead winter and the temperatures were very cold. Brent had just gotten his license a few months earlier, so he was just thrilled just to be driving. Not having any particular place in mind to drive to, at least that time of night, Brent said, hey, let's just ride out by the old golf course road. So Boob and I agreed, and off to the golf course we were. From what I can recall, it was a cold, clear night, and it seemed as if every star in God's awesome sky was shining down bright upon us. So the visibility was as good as could be. The great thing about Brent's car is that it had a heater from hell. It actually got so hot in his car at one point that Booba jokingly said that if he didn't turn down his heat, she was going to strip down to her bare naked body. Brent laughed about it as he proceeded to turn his heat down. After driving for about 5 minutes from Burger Queen, we arrived on Pendleton Street, turned left, and proceeded to drive down the golf course gravel road. There were no street lights on this road, which made the road and the ride as creepy as could be. About halfway up this gravel road, we came to the bridge that crosses what we have always known to be Turd Creek. For reasons I still don't know why today, Brent decided all of a sudden that he wanted to stop on the bridge. He turned off his car and just for a chill for a few minutes and just chit chat. To be honest, I just think he wanted to make Boo fuss at him about him not having the heat turned on. That opportunity never came, for Boo would be the first one of us to spot the terror that was headed our way. Out of nowhere, she noticed a huge patch of fog rolling up the creek headed our way. It was thick as fog that I had ever seen in my life, at least at that young, tender age of my life. As we was about to approach the bridge, Booba started pleading with Brent to start his car and to get the heck out of there. But for reasons unknown, Brent's car would not start. He tried repeatedly to get the car to crank, but each time it wouldn't. By now, Booba wasn't the only one that was scared. So was Brent, so was I. After what seemed to feel as if it lasted for several minutes, but in all actuality was only a few seconds, the fog slowly passed through the car, seemingly to temporarily put us in an out-of-body experience for a few seconds, at least. Then it continued its path down the other side of the creek until it seemingly just vanished into thin air. Once this happened, Brent turned his keys to ignition, and his car started right up. At this moment, all we could do was just look at one another in disbelief. Then, out of nowhere, Booba shouted out, "Brent, hey man, let's go. Hell, if we don't get out of here and get me home, I'm gonna piss in my pants." So Brent and I died laughing at our homegirl. We both glanced at each other with that look on our face you have when you can't explain something that just happened. All we knew was that wasn't any ordinary fog. And years later, when looking back on that whole ordeal, we're still left with more questions than answers about the mysterious fog that covered Turd Creek on that one cold night in February. I'd like to take this time out to give a special shout out to my homegirl, Mrs. Tanya Booba Whitney. R.I.P. my sister. We love you, and I hope that you get a good laugh out of this one. So until next time, I ask all my listeners to stay tuned.
Brent. Hey, it comes straight through the car.
Where'd it come from?
Come from the ditch line, come straight down, out clear on both sides of the ditch, just straight down in the ditch.
Amen. Amen. So I told you. And what happened to the fog?
Went through the car, got on the other side, disappeared.
Amen. That's what I'm talking about.
It's like it came up and left.
The fog. Muhlenberg County Ghost Stories from the Hood, narrated by the one and only Sir Creepsta. Coming at you soon.